OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Outcasted OC review of NXT Part 2 of Halloween. Spooky Halloween Havoc. I am Reese, also back to normal. I've said back a lot, but I wasn't here last week because I just got back from Poland, so they're always amazing, always reliable. Ross covered night 1 of NXT Halloween Havoc for me. Thank you, Ross, for that. Will this week be better than the last week? There's only one way to find out, and that is through my review or watching the show, or both. How about you do both? Because, both things are great. Let's get right into it. We start this night off like it's a bit of a weird start. First off, we have Scarlett and Shotzi showing up in the Ghostbusters car, which is really, really cool. Who are you gonna call? Shotzi and Scarlett. Then we get a bit of a mini concert of the theme song of Halloween Havoc. We're not going to talk about that. Who cares? It's a concert. You get it. It's wrestling. It was a metal band. I think they were lip syncing as well. I don't know. It was rubbish. Anyway, let's get on to something that wasn't rubbish, and that is the tables, ladders, and scares match. We've got the Creed brothers coming straight off a very impressive victory on Monday Night Raw against the Alpha Academy. If you want to hear the thoughts, what Outcasted OC think about that, check out Courtney's review on Raw. It was yesterday. Sorry, I forgot my days then. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday today. So it was yesterday that the Raw review came out. Check that out. Yes, the Creed brothers versus Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo in a TLC match or a TLS match, whatever. That sounds weird. It sounds kinky when I say it out loud. But that's what it was. Tables, ladders, and scares. Almost immediately, this match just gets absolutely out of control. So the Creed brothers get both of the cousins on the floor. Like, they just start attacking them. Like, they're not waiting for each other to get to the ring, baby. No, that's not happening. What they do then is immediately get out a table. I believe it's Angel Garza that gets laid onto the table, and then Humberto Carrillo gets power slammed through Garza through the table. So both at the same time go through the table. It's literally about 1 minute into this match. It doesn't take long for this match to get absolutely out of control. There's a lot of spots in this match. There's a really cool moment where I believe it's Brutus gets taken out and Julius does not realize that he doesn't have the number advantage anymore. So both teams are just beating the crap out of each other. But this moment here, Julius gets taken advantage of here by Garza and Humberto Carrillo. The numbers game take over and they superplex him, double superplex him through a ladder in the ring. And oh God, it looks very, very painful. You get quite a lot of spots in this match, which I was very happy with. I always like to see a lot of spots in TLC matches. You don't just want 1 or 2 matches in a TLC match, do you? You want to see everything all at the same time. Classic like Edge and Christian, Dudley's, Hardy's style match. That's what you want from your TLC matches. This match comes to an end where both, I believe it's Humberto Carrillo and Humberto Carrillo and Brutus are fighting on the top rope. Which way is it going to go? There is a table to the outside. There is a table inside the ring. Brutus takes advantage of Humberto Carrillo and throws him through the table outside the ring. He is out of it just in time to hit a Brutus bomb onto Angel Garza through the table that's inside the ring for the 1, 2, 3. The Creed brothers take advantage, get another victory, the second victory this week for them. It's so impressive, from both of these guys. Both of these teams put on an absolute clinic. Very, very cool to see. I tell you what as well, and this is, I'm going to make a TikTok on this as well. The Creed brothers don't need to be in NXT anymore. They just don't. It doesn't need to happen. NXT is way too low for them now, and that's not to put on that's not to disparage NXT. I love NXT, but the Creed brothers are above and beyond NXT now. We saw them on Monday Night Raw. They got an amazing reaction. They've just had a really, really good match with Alpha Academy. They've come into Halloween Havoc this week. They've had another amazing match with another great tag team. So they just don't need to be there anymore. And it's one of those things where, let's move them up. We need some great tag teams in the division. We need some great tag teams on Monday Night Raw. We need some great tag teams on Friday Night SmackDown. Let's get them to the main roster. That's just my opinion anyway. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments. Not long after this, we go backstage to where apparently Scarlett and Shotzi are reading the tarot cards. Something is on the horizon in NXT. Something is about to happen. That's what the cards are telling Scarlett. But then all of a sudden, the witches show up. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Isla Dawn, I believe her name is. Yeah, they show up and they say basically, you know, can we take over tonight of NXT Halloween Havoc Part 2? And Shotzi and Scarlett just go, yeah, why not? And I'm just like, all right, okay, just give your job to somebody else, Scarlett. It's not like, you know, it's not like you need the job. You know, you're on you're on SmackDown every single week, so you know you've got to. Oh wait, you're not. So for the very first time that you've been on TV in weeks and weeks and weeks, you've given your job up. So, you know, amazing. Same with you, Shotzi. You know, it's not exactly, on wrestling. It's not like, you know, you're on TV every single week. So, you know, but anyway, yeah, the witches take over. Not sure why. Don't really care. Bit weird, but, you know. We stay backstage now where Mackenzie is interviewing Tiffany Stratton ahead of her match. She said she is sick and tired of everyone talking about how Fallon Henley did a great impression of Tiffany Stratton last week. It's all that everyone's been talking about, and she's had enough, and she storms off. Before we get to that match, we get a backstage sort of vignette from Joe Gacy, where he said he's gone through a lot in his life. He is, you know, responsible for a lot of things, like a lot of bad things. You know, he's not making excuses, but, you know, he's basically just telling you about his life. He's talking about people screwing him over. He's talking about, you know, while he's been in it. Basically, he's talking about how he's got no character at the moment because the GYV have left. I don't know what Ava Rain's doing, but Joe Gacy told her to go away for some reason. I'm not sure why, because it's the only friend that he had in NXT, seeing as though he's been feuding with pretty much everybody. But the point of this segment was Joe Gacy says he has had enough, and there's gonna be a reckoning, and you know there's no going back. Or I don't know. I don't know what Joe Gacy's doing anymore. I was really disappointed with this, and I was really disappointed with the fact that Joe Gacy kind of just give up the schism just like that. I was interested in the schism, unless they've got like a plan for him on the main roster. I didn't really see the need to break up the schism. I mean, I understand that the GYV wanted to be out of their contracts. They looked very happy on I think it was Dragon Gate that there was in. It was like Dragon Gate or like Rev Pro that they showed up to an indie show a couple of weeks ago, and they looked just really happy that they was out of the contracts, that they were back to the GYV. But I understand that bit had to happen, but I wasn't sure why they got rid of Ava Rain, unless they're doing something for her with the bloodline, because we saw Paul Heyman talking to her a couple of days ago. But with Joe Gacy, now it's left him with no direction. It's left him with no purpose. It's left him with no rivalry, no feud, no way forward on NXT. So hopefully they're going to be doing something with him. I think he's way too talented to be left on just, you know, the sidelines doing nothing. So let's hope Joe Gacy gets his act together. Let's hope Creative get their act together and, you know, get something going with him. Speaking of something that's not starting or going, we got Fallon Henley versus Tiffany Stratton. That doesn't take place because as Fallon Huntley, or whatever Tiffany Stratton calls her, he's making her way down to the ring. Tiffany Stratton attacks her and just beats her down before the match can even start, and then she just leaves. So I guess we're not getting that match this week, maybe next week or whatever. I don't know. We go to something that's probably the best part of the night now. So just a little bit of backstory. A couple of weeks ago on NXT, we saw Akira Tozawa steal the NXT Heritage Cup from Noam Dar while he wasn't looking. He went into the room and stole the cup. Akira Tozawa now has the cup and says the only way that Noam Dar and the Metaphor can get the cup back is if they go to a haunted house. So this week on NXT, we see the Metaphor show up to the haunted house, and they're like, as long as we stick together, we'll be absolutely fine. Aura Mensa makes that suggestion, and Noam Dar says, that's where you're my main man, Mensa. You know, stick together, Scottish stuff. Aye. I'm just going to talk about all of this segment, like, because it happens all the way through the night. I'm going to talk about it all at once. So it starts off with Jakara Jackson, like, wandering off, because at the very, very start, literally just after him saying they're going to stick together, they all get frightened and run off in different directions, unfortunately, for the Metaphor. So Jakara Jackson is the first one to go. She kind of gets beaten down and kidnapped by the ghouls. And then it happens to, I believe it's, is it Last Legend that it happens to first, or Mensa? Either way. So Last Legend gets taken into a closet and like, you know, I don't know what happens to her, but the ghouls get her as well. Aura Mensa is like walking around saying, nobody can touch me. I'm main man Mensa, baby. No one can, you know, he beats down one of the ghouls and he goes, hi, Akira. And he goes, wait, Akira? And then he starts screaming and they both start fighting. And then an Aura Mensa gets taken out. So there's only one person left in the metaphor, and that is Noam Dar. Noam Dar is walking by himself. He's scared. He doesn't want to be here. All he wants is his heritage cup back. That's all he wants. That's all he came for. He's so sad about it. And then he sees it. And then he sees the heritage cup like shining in a light. And he's like, oh my God, thank goodness. He will never let this happen again. He will never let the heritage cup out of his sight ever again. He gives it a kiss and a hug and says, we're getting out of here. He turns around. And all the ghouls are there. He turns around, he looks to his left and he looks to his right, and there's loads of ghouls there. And he goes, listen, whatever Akira Tozawa is paying you, I will pay you double. Just let me out of here with my cup. I just don't want to be here anymore. He turns around and says, you know, I'm through with it. I'm through with it. But then Akira Tozawa is there and he says, Akira, just call them off. Call them off. What, you know, what do you want from me? Why would you do this? And Akira Tozawa says, all I want is an NXT Heritage Cup match. And this is funny, this. Like, Noam Dar says to him, he goes, what? No, he didn't even get a point in the Heritage Cup tournament, which is true. He didn't. He didn't. But Akira Tozawa goes, okay, fine. And he lets the ghouls take out Noam Dar. And he goes, no, wait. You've got your match. You've got your match, Akira. Just let me go. Next week, whenever. And Akira says, yes, finally. I'm going to get it. The way he doesn't say it, but, you know, I'm assuming this is what he's thinking. But then he lets the ghouls attack him anyway. He lets the ghouls attack Noam Dar anyway, and that's where it cuts off. So next week, it looks like we're going to be getting an NXT Heritage Cup match between Akira Tozawa and Noam Dar. I don't think Akira is going to be winning, but I thought this was a very, very funny rivalry regardless. I thought it was a cool thing that was going on. Now we go back to NXT, where it is an NXT North American Championship match. We have got Never Slow Down in Mr. Nathan Fraser versus the champion, accompanied by the Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley, Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Not really much to say about this match, unfortunately. It's a decent match. Obviously, you got Nathan Fraser like picking up the pace, moving really fast, and Dominic just trying to counter him. Rhea Ripley goes to cheat on the outside, but Dominic Mysterio miscues, and Rhea says, what are you doing, Dom? Nearly costing him the match, but Dominic is able to kick out. At the end of the match here, Nathan Fraser has the advantage. He goes up to the top rope, goes for the Phoenix Splash, but Dominic Mysterio pushes him off of the top rope. He falls and he hits his head off of the announce table. Dominic Mysterio gets him back into the ring, hits the Frog Splash for the 1, 2, 3. Dominic retains the NXT North American Championship, but it is not all sunshine and rainbows for Dirty Dom, baby, because returning, obviously coming after the North American Championship, is Wesley. Wesley is back on NXT, and I have mixed emotions about this because obviously I want to see Dirty Dominic versus Wesley again, because Wesley obviously was cheated out of the NXT North American Championship, but at the same time, I don't know if he really needs to be on NXT anymore. Honestly, guys, I don't. I really don't. Like, this guy needs to be on SmackDown. This guy needs to be on Raw. I would love to see Wesley versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. I wouldn't mind. I would pay good money to see Wesley versus either Logan Paul or Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship. I think he's more than capable of moving up to the main roster. I don't think he needs to be on NXT anymore. And I hope he's not in the Iron Survivor match. I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but that has been announced once again. One of my favorite matches that's been invented over the past couple of years. The Iron Survivor is back. NXT Deadline at the end of the year is going to have a men's and women's one. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. But it looks like Wesley has got Dirty Dominic in his crosshairs, and he's coming for what he believes he was screwed out of, and that is the North American Championship, baby. We now go backstage to where JC Jane is saying to Andre Chase, you should, you should really thank me. I'm the reason why you won the NXT Tag Team Championships. And Andre Chase says, well, no, not really, because you tried to cheat. Like, we don't do that at Chase University. Thea Hale and Duke Hudson show up, and Duke Hudson says, he hasn't had to pay for a meal in a whole week. Like, he's been riding high off of this NXT Championship victory. And Chase U is no longer going to be called Chase U eventually. It's going to be called Championship University, baby. Woo! Andre Chase says, he's down for all that, but Thea Hale and Jacy Jayne need to carry it on tonight. They need to win clean against Piper Niven and Chelsea Green for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Bring it home to Chase U. So them two go off, get ready for the match. They need to, discuss. This is what Jacy Jayne says. They need to carry on strategizing and they need to discuss a plan to beat Chelsea and Piper. But as Andre Chase and Duke Hudson are about to walk away, they're confronted by the family. Tony D and Stacks are not very happy with the way it went down last week. They say, Tony D says, there are two types of wrongs in this world. They're the wrongs that we do to other people, and the wrongs that happened to us last week. And you owe us. You are going to get what is coming to you. And Andre Chase says, don't worry. You'll get your NXT Tag Team Championship rematch. That's not to worry. And Tony D turns around and goes, yeah, we will. That too. Implying that maybe the family has a bit more of a deeper issue with Chase University. What's going to be going on there, man? The family's been faced for a while, but I have a feeling this is a heel turn for Tony D and Stacks. Maybe they're going to be getting more members of the family in. Bit of a heel faction. There's some heel factions disappearing from NXT. Maybe the family is going to fill the void. So I would quite like to see like a heel Tony D'Angelo and a new, just a new kind of vibe from that. I wouldn't mind seeing that, to be fair. The Witches are talking about how poor Thea Hale and Jacy Jayne, they don't realize that there is a curse on those women's championships. I don't really know why, the Witches have taken up. I mean, the Witches and it's NXT Halloween Havoc. Okay, cool, but Shotzi and Scarlett were doing an okay job, and they haven't really done anything else tonight. The Witches say that they've got a lot on their plate, but they haven't done anything so far tonight. And spoiler alert, they're not doing anything for the rest of the night. So I don't know why they just give him the job. Anyway, Robert Stone versus Bron Breakker. This is revenge. Robert Stone is trying to get revenge for Von Wagner after what Bron Breakker did to him a couple of weeks ago, where he smashed the stairs on his head. There's not much to talk about in this match. Robert Stone pretty much gets destroyed by Bron Breakker. There's a bit where Bron Breakker runs into the ropes and Robert Stone tries to get a cheeky roll up, but it's not to be. But then Bron Breakker just hits an absolutely just break in half spear on Robert Stone. 1, 2, 3. And while this is going on, Booker T is just absolutely having an orgasm on commentary, going, no bread, no water, just meat. Booker T is, he's always great with his commentary, providing absolutely amazing analysis. All I've heard from him tonight is, oh, yes, or biscotti. That. There's literally nothing else. Booker T, you got to love him. But as Bron Breakker is about to do the same thing to Robert Stone as he did to Von Wagner a couple of weeks ago, Von comes out and stops him from hitting the stairs onto Robert Stone. He starts beating him down, and Bron Breakker retreats as Robert Stone is recovering, and Von Wagner picks him up and they go backstage. Speaking of backstage, we now go backstage to, there is a sort of a backstage sort of vignette from OTM Out the Mud. Got Lucian Price and Bronco Nima, where Scripps or Reggie is doing the talking for him. They are talking to the Brawling Brutes. They're basically saying to the Brawling Brutes that, you cost OTM a chance at the Tag Team Championships last week, and, we've got a problem with you now. They may call me Reggie. Yeah, you might know me from, drinking the wine and the champagne, but people back home in St. Louis call me Scripps. I've been there. I've been in prison. I've been shot at. My uncle died when I was a kid in my room when I was very young. So I know what it's like. And you guys wouldn't be able to survive 5 seconds on our streets. Once I met these two guys, I remembered who I was, and I am Scripps, baby. This is an interesting. I really like Out in the Mud. Interesting. Reggie or Scripps, Bronco Nima, Lucian Price all together. Going to be taking on the Brawling Brutes. Yeah, I'm down for that. Is it going to be a 6-man tag team match, or is it just going to be Nima and Price versus Butch and Ridge Holland? Because I can't see, Reggie doing very well against Sheamus. I don't see how that would go down in his favor very well. Anyway, we get a women's tag team championship match now. Chase U, that being Jacy Jayne and Thea Hale, versus the women's champions Green and Piper Niven. I was actually rooting for JC Jane and Thea Hale to win this match. Like, maybe, all of Chase U have the gold. I'm absolutely down for that. But there is a bit where Andre Chase is cheering on, trying to get the Chase U section alive, like, because they've got a bit of momentum behind them now. Chase U, JC Jane is in the ring, like, she is handling business, taking out Chelsea Green. She goes to grab one of the NXT Tag Team Championships off Andre Chase, but he grabs it and says no. This distracts JC Jane long enough to turn around into the unprettier for the 1, 2, 3. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven retain the championships. This is also causing a little bit of dysfunctional destruction in Chase U, because what's Thea Hale going to think of this? JC Jane, we already know what she's going to think of it, because she thinks she helped them, capture the tag team championships last week, but obviously they didn't reciprocate. They didn't let them cheat. They didn't let them win the women's tag team championship. So there's going to be a bit of beef between Andre Chase and JC Jane, probably with Thea Hale as well, heading into the next couple of weeks. We get a bit of a weird, creepy segment here where Mackenzie's talking to Lexis King, aka Brian Pillman Jr., saying he has had a lot of people talking about him over the past couple of weeks, and especially since he made his debut last week on NXT Halloween Havoc. This is because people like the gimmick, but people thought his in-ring abilities were a little bit rubbish. Basically, they were a little bit boring, and the finishing move was a little bit convoluted, which I agree with. I do agree with that. I still think this character has a lot of legs, but the in-ring work needs to be, worked on, basically. But he takes it as, it just comes with being a star, basically. Like, people talk about him because he is a star. And basically, he's got something in the works. Like, watch out for what he has got planned. And then he goes, for what I have already done. And Mackenzie goes, what do you mean? And he goes, you're just going to have to find out. And they go, back to you, Booker and Vic Joseph. And this is a bit of a weird, creepy thing. He starts hitting on Mackenzie. He's like, how about you stay for some candy, Mackenzie? How about you stay around? And she's like, no, I've got to go. This was a bit weird. I don't know. I thought it was really weird. Anyway, we've got the final of the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. Cody Rhodes, I want to know when the men's tournament is going to start as well, because I'm a fan of these tournaments. I think they're a really interesting thing to watch. But yeah, the final, we have got Kalani Jordan versus Lola Vice. Bit of a disappointing final, not going to lie to you. Not because I predicted who the winner was, because I was correct. From the very beginning, I said it was going to be Lola Vice. And it is Lola Vice who is the victor here. But it doesn't last for very long, this match. Not at all. There's a bit here where Kalani Jordan has injured her leg and she gets onto the ropes to hit a move on Lola Vice, and she is distracted by Elektra Lopez, who has come out with Lola Vice. It is just enough of a distraction for Lola Vice to get out of the way of what Kalani Jordan has planned, hits her with that black mass kind of kick, and gets the victory. Lola Vice is the winner of the Women's Breakout Tournament. She gets a contract to face any champion in WWE, I believe it is. I could see this happening in the next couple of weeks, probably at Deadline, Lola Vice versus Lyra Valkyria. I would quite like to see that. Or you could have a women's tag team championship match, Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez, because obviously Elektra Lopez helped to win the NXT Breakout Tournament. Maybe she, thanks her by, maybe try to capture the tag team championships with her, which would be an interesting way to go. I don't know. Either way, I'd be fine with it. I don't think she probably would beat Lyra Valkyria so soon. I think they're probably going to let Lyra Valkyria hold that championship for a long, long time. But I think there's wiggle room when it comes to the women's tag team championships. I really do think there's a bit of wiggle room. I wouldn't mind seeing Lola Vice with a championship. I think she's got a lot of potential. I think she's got a lot of a lot of future ahead of her in terms of gold. I think she's very talented in the ring. She's got the looks. She has got the in-ring work. She's quite good in backstage segments, like on the microphone. So I think the sky's the limit for Lola Vice. I really do. And I love that name, by the way. Lola Vice. It just sounds like a championship name. It sounds dope. Let me know what you think. Did you want Kalani Jordan to win this match? Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. The witches are still talking about how there is a curse, how there's been, how Halloween has been great. Who cares? By this point, I was sick of the witches in NXT, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn. Just go back to SmackDown and try and win the tag team championships, okay? While this is going on, Von Wagner and Robert Stone walk past, and Von Wagner is demanding that Robert Stone get him a match next week with Bron Breakker, and Robert Stone is just refusing. But Von Wagner says, listen, you stood up for me this week, but to next week, it's time for me to handle business. I don't care if I'm not ready. I don't care if I'm not cleared. I want Bron Breakker next week. It's time for me to stand up and finish this. But as he is saying this, his head starts hurting. He starts getting a little bit woozy. And Robert Stone is a little bit concerned about him. And he goes, I'm fine, Stone. Just make the match and get me that match next week. Bit concerned for Von Wagner. I wanted him to come out with the whole Kane gimmick. I wanted him to come out like, like looking like a bit of a monster, like covering his face and everything, bit of a mask gimmick. I think that'd be cool. I think he could pull it off. Because then he wouldn't have to talk as much. He's not the best talker in the world, is he? Bless him, Von Wagner. But, he's good enough in the ring and he's got an imposing figure. He could have been like the Kane of this generation, dude. That would have been cool. A bit of like, his face is so damaged from what happened, I don't know. Like, am I reaching a bit too much there? Let me know in the comments what you think of that. We now get to the main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. We get an NXT Championship match. We get Ilya Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes, Part 3. Who is going to come out on top? This is a really, really good match, guys. Ilya Dragunov is getting taken to his limits by Carmelo Hayes in this match. Carmelo Hayes is bringing his A game. We got a beautiful sort of spinning DDT. You should have seen the torque and the momentum on this if you've not seen this. It looks amazing. Carmelo Hayes then hits another DDT on the apron, which just looks disgusting onto Ilya Dragunov. Later on in the match, Ilya Dragunov hits like a superplex onto the apron, which looks gnarly as well. And Carmelo Hayes just looks in tremendous pain. Ilya Dragunov gets him onto the announce table. He gets on to the barricade and hits a super H-bomb onto Carmelo Hayes, gets him back in the ring, and Carmelo Hayes is still alive. He goes for another H-bomb, and Carmelo Hayes sort of counters again. It's kind of like a code breaker, but I don't know what, I can't remember what Carmelo Hayes calls it. So he hits the code breaker. Dragunov bounces off the ropes into another H-bomb, which Carmelo Hayes kicks out of. He gets Ilya Dragunov on the floor with another kind of code breaker move. He's about to go up to the top rope to hit nothing but net, but then whose theme song hits? Whoop that trick, baby. He is back after 2 weeks. Someone attacked him in the last fortnight, but we don't know who it is. Who took him out of that fatal four-way match for the #1 contenders match for the NXT Championship? But I tell you what, we might know the answer, because as his music hits, Carmelo Hayes looks absolutely shocked. It looks like he's been hit. Like he looks like he's seen a ghost. He looks like, wow, what are you doing out here? Like he doesn't look very happy to see his friend. But it is enough distraction for Ilya Dragunov to take advantage. Knocks Carmelo Hayes off the ropes. Hits the torpedo mask out for the 1, 2, 3. Ilya Dragunov retains the NXT Championship. But that is not the story here, guys. Because is it Carmelo Hayes the one who attacked Trick Williams, his longtime friend, his childhood best friend? Is he the one who took Trick Williams out of that fatal four-way match? Well, we might get a little bit of a clue here, because as Ilya Dragunov is walking backstage after retaining the NXT Championship, Trick Williams gets him back in, gets into the ring and drags Carmelo Hayes up. And look, just as we're about to get some answers, by the way, Booker T needs to shut up while this is all going on. Vic Joseph is trying to shut him up, saying, something's happening here. Like, Booker, basically shut the hell up. We go backstage to where Baron Corbin has taken out Ilya Dragunov, and he's saying to Dragunov, I told you to keep your head on a swivel. So it looks like Baron Corbin is the next to come after Ilya Dragunov for the NXT Championship. But it looks like we're going to have to wait till next week to get some answers from Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. Why was Carmelo Hayes so shocked to see Trick Williams? Could it have just been because he wasn't expecting it and it was a distraction in the match? Or was he expecting Trick Williams to be out a little bit longer because he was the person who attacked him? Only time will tell. We will find out next week. And is Baron Corbin going to be challenging Ilya Dragunov at Deadline for the NXT Championship? We're also going to be finding out next week, guys, who are going to be the people in the Iron Survivor Challenge, both for the men and the women. We're going to get a couple of Hall of Famers, including Shawn Michaels, discussing, just like we did last year, who deserves to be in the Iron Survivor Challenge. Can't wait to see that. I have a couple of theories of who that's going to be, but I might save that for another video. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a TikTok about it. I'm going to put it on the Outcasted OC TikTok channel this weekend, guys, who I think should be in the Iron Survivor Challenge for the men and the women. Stay tuned for that. Might even put it as a YouTube short. I definitely will. I'm not just saying I might. I definitely will. I'm just rambling now. But what did you think of night 2 of Halloween Havoc, guys? Let me know in the comments. Did you think it was as good as last week's show? You know, Chase U winning that tag team championship last week. Like that was a high bar. I don't know if it was as good as last week's, but it was definitely a good show. I thought the witches were quite annoying, but I do think the Ilya Dragonov Carmelo Hayes match was really good. It was nice to see my prediction come through for Lola Vice winning the women's breakout tournament. That was hard to say. Dominic Mysterio and Nathan Fraser had a decent match. The tables, ladders, and scares match at the start of the night really stole the show for me. That was definitely a match of the night. But like I said, guys, let me know what you think in the comments of this show. Stay tuned, guys, because tomorrow we're going to be having a Crown Jewel predictions with none other than Courtney Jane Dilger Baby from TikTok, my personal best friend. She's going to be on the podcast with the rest of the gang discussing our predictions for what's going to be happening at Crown Jewel. If you want to know what happened with the Creeds on Monday Night Raw and just Raw as a whole, guys, it was a great episode of Monday Night Raw. Check out our review from last week. From yesterday. We do have one from last week, but you know that one's a bit old. So check out the one from this week, from Courtney, our Courtney. Not, you know, there's too many Courtneys. There's too many Courtneys going around, for God's sake. Also stay tuned for Saturday morning, guys, because we're going to be having a SmackDown review up for you. And then obviously we're going to be having a Crown Jewel review for you guys because it's going to be on early in the UK for us. So, you know, it's going to be great to have that up for you lot. Then stay tuned because Ross at the end of the week is going to be wrapping up AEW for you guys. And then it all starts again next week. So stay tuned for all of that. We've got plenty of content coming for the TikTok channel, the Instagram channel, and YouTube. Go follow them all, guys, at Outcasted OC. But for now, hope you enjoyed NXT Halloween Havoc. I've been Reese. It's been amazing to be back. Peace out.